one evening so far with Denise Whelan. She's 24 Club Australia.
She's
Has
awesome.
let us. I mean, yeah, she's so good, and she has quite a few things planned. Actually, it sounds like she's coming in true Denise form. But I told her, to do like she normally does when she does with us. So I'm excited for y'all. For us.
A great person, actually. I really love. I would love. Let's see. I'm gonna see who's on the line, but I'd love if you just shared a little bit more because. Oh, do we only have 3 of us on? No, it looks it's just a show of us, 3 of us shine. Denise, what I love about Denise, I remember the first time that I met Denise, and we were in, where were we? We were in the Gold Coast, and Denise had just, I think she'd just gone NMD, and Denise was a school teacher, correct? Or a
Yeah,
teacher?
she was a teacher.
A swim coach, right?
Yeah.
And so
really awesome.
We're looking more than just teachers right now. We're looking at everybody who has anything to do with the schools, right? I mean, our schools here, they pretty much just announced that all of the schools are, I know that probably pretty much shared that they're not going to be opening until the fall. So I know that they just announced it, I think in Arizona, I think they just announced, I think they're going to announce it in California. But so everybody's going to be looking, for something to do. And once again, we're talking about us being the solution. And tonight, I think, Lori, I don't know about there, if you guys are not going back to school for the rest of the year. But nope, they don't know yet in Texas. So,
No.
No, you don't know yet? No, you guys don't know yet?
I don't know. I haven't heard for sure. We've just extended it so far.
So as we just wait for everybody to come and join us on the line, I hope everybody's doing well. How many of you participate in this weekend in our conference? And I'd love to hear what you loved about the conference this weekend. We're going to be doing that once a month. The next one is going to be on April the 10th we're going to start it at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for 1 hour, and then it'll be 9 to 12 the following day. Did anybody participate in it? And what did you love? What did you love about it? Just so we can know, just real quick. Anybody want to share about the weekend, about what you enjoyed? Anyone?
I really enjoyed the gal that shared about the moms on the mom panel and how she shared that she was able to be with her dad. And that just really made me cry, and I loved it a lot.
Yeah, that was amazing, Cheryl. Yeah. Anybody else about what you enjoyed about the weekend?
I loved Elizabeth from France and Switzerland. She was just incredible. I mean, what I love about the young millennials, and I'm talking to a lot right now, is for some reason they're kind of coming into my life. Is that her ease and her grace, and just how what I found with millennials is that they're really motivated and they want to work hard, but they're looking for a mission. They want to be a part of something bigger than just the regular job. And so my approach with them, and so I really appreciate what she said, because she's just so true from her heart and authentic, and she has a very strong work ethic, and she keeps it simple. And I really appreciated her a lot. She just was incredible.
Yeah, and she's very consistent. So if you do follow her, she's very, very consistent with her action, very big on, and it really is. I mean, her Facebook lives, and her Instagram lives, and just having fun with everything that she does. I think it doesn't feel it feels staged. It feels very real, and just very authentic. Hi, Ashma. Oh, I think that Ashma is with Dwayne, correct? A new distributor as well. Beautiful. I remember seeing you. So welcome to our team. So what else about the weekend? Anybody else want to share about the weekend?
Can I share one more thing? The thing that really struck me too, I just thought that Cynthia and Bailey really blew me out of the water. They just, I don't know if Cynthia's on here, but and Bailey, she's such an incredibly, I'll cry. But Cynthia is just such a great human being, and just her structure and her commitment and her, and how she's coming across and how she speaks so well. And then having her daughter join her business. I mean, that's my dream. And, you know, and it's just like you, Lauren, you know, with your son. And Bailey, I just want to say welcome. I'm so excited for you, sweetheart. And there's so many good people on here that just want to see you succeed, and you get to work with your mom. I mean, wow. They really struck me, and I was crying when I heard them speak. So that was really wonderful.
So awesome. As we wait for Cheryl, I just kind of want to go back through a couple things with you guys about now, we always talk about, you got to strike while the iron's hot. And the thing is that now really is our time. We talk about this being winter, and winter really is our season. And what that really means is, it's time for us to rest and reevaluate, but also really reconnect about why we're doing what we're doing. And, leadership, if we look about leadership and why leadership is needed now more than ever. It's not, if you're waiting for a sign, I said this last week, if you're waiting for the sign, this is the sign. We just got some insight from one of Z's friends, and who's over in China. And he said the number one thing to tell people to do is, guess what? Anybody know? Anybody want to know what it is?
Fruits and
And
veggies.
nutrition.
Literally fruits and vegetables, he said. Didn't he, Cheryl? I sent Cheryl the text. He was like, fruits and
Yes,
vegetables.
she did.
That was in Beijing, the number one thing that he said. So not any magic formulas about everything. What he was literally saying, you tell people to have more fruits and vegetables, hydrate. If they're going to wash, make sure they wash their hands, make sure they do all of the, yes, Dr. Sachs was incredible, I thought, with regards to everything that she shared. But I just want to talk once again, it's like right now is a great time for you to really look at your vision, about what you really want to create, and you have the opportunity to create it. And really just go for it. What's the worst thing that's going to happen if you share from your heart, which I think that all of you do, but we have to do it, you guys. We have to have some extraordinary standards. And I think, Manon, what you said, what really is, and what I really, I've gotten to be very good friends with Elizabeth, and she really wants to buddy up. When she said, hey, I've been following you, and I'm like, okay, well, now it's my time to follow you. She's like, well, all I'm doing is what you've been telling people to do. I'm on all your calls when you do these things. So the thing about it is having those unrealistic expectations, and just deciding just to go for it. So whatever it is with regards to you and your standards, and I look at, what those guys in Australia have done in these 48-hour blitzes. They are having unrealistic, awesome expectations about things. And they're just going on it and putting on thousands of people, thousands and thousands. They're making those calls. They're calling those, almost 3,000, I think, new customers. 1,500 new distributors in 48 hours. It's because everybody has decided that that's it. They cut the boats, no excuses. There's no excuses. I don't know about it. There's no excuses with regards to things. And then our conviction and our commitment to each other. But I thought that Cheryl would come on. Cheryl, I know that a lot of questions that people have was, it's a sensitive time right now for people. I know you've been through many sensitive times with regards to things, and people have questions about how do they talk to people? What do they, how do they address this? Or maybe you guys are welcome to unmute yourself of, what is it right now that is, inspiring you have to really go for it? Or what is it still that's holding you back? So, Cheryl.
And I'd like to say something too to start. First of all, you mentioned the Australians. I want everybody to know that they really had hit a low in their business. They originally had kind of skyrocketed up, and everything seemed to be smooth sailing, and then they had some real difficulties. And so it's harder usually to pick yourself back up, but anybody can. And I think that's what they proved very, it's loud and clear, is that they decided enough, and I think that, there are definitely defining moments in our lives when we say enough is enough. I'm just taking control of this again. And so, Jeff Roberti, of course, all of you all for the most part know Jeff. He's kind of the father of this organization. Okay, he's my sponsor. But like he was saying this morning, it's just, the time is really now. It's very it's very interesting how this has come about. And it's, as Lauren said, it's a very sensitive time, but it's a time of also great opportunity from a standpoint of really being able to support others in things that they truly need and help them be able to create resources for income as well, because that is a function of life that's needed. I'd like to address also a couple of things that, Lauren said it's a sensitive time. And it's a sensitive time for a lot of reasons. I mean, there's a true economic situation out there that's desperate for many people, and it's hard. I know when my business first started, it was very localized, but everybody in my area, we just didn't, we didn't have income. And it was a similar thing in that people were almost hurting so much they didn't want to hear anything if they didn't feel like it was something that would make money right this minute. What we did realize then, and what we need to realize today, is that there are a lot of people who do need the economic resources, but there are a lot of people who are still working, who have economic resources. There are people to buy our products and to support our, the businesses of those people reaching out. So that's a fact, first of all. But let's talk about the sensitive side, because this is what's always served me well in my business, is I try to think or put myself in that other person's place. If you were in that situation, what would you want or need to hear that would make you feel better? Because I can remember Jeff saying to me, and this is, it's a little different than this would be, of course, but I was really scared financially and terrified, as a matter of fact. And my parents were gone. It wasn't like I could take my children and go home. And he said, well, you're just going to feel a whole lot better if we've got about $20,000 or $30,000 in the bank. I said, you're darn right, that would feel a whole lot better. But and that's probably too flippant for this situation we're in. But he reached that part of me when he said, well, you know what, we're going to do this together, and I'm going to help you, and it's going to happen. And so it was that conviction of, I really stepped into his strength, you might say. And that made all the difference in the world for me. I think that by listening to people, and I've found this my entire career too, is that if you really listen to people, we're all in a situation right now where we have similar emotions. And those emotions are very painful. They're very uncertain. We have never, ever experienced anything like this in our lives. And so you'd have no historical reference on, so identifying first with that person, whoever you're speaking to, in regard to how are you and your family doing, having that kind of conversation where you can get to that part that we all have in common right now. And to say to somebody, and I said this to people when I first started as well, I have no idea if this is the answer for you. What I do know is that in a time when I was really financially terrified, this turned out to be the answer for me. And so let's look at it together. And if it fits, great. And if it doesn't, I'm going to love you anyway. We're here for you anyway. And it might not, we just discussed this on our last call, and I discussed it earlier today with some of the national marketing directors, is that, right this moment, the person may be so overwhelmed that it would be very hard to make a decision to do anything. Even though if you have just realized that all your financial resources are gone, you might feel, and I think most people would, that they'd have to find something to do instantly, and this may not be an instant answer. So you have to kind of give people space, in a sense, but let them know that you're here. And I remember times when, like, this has been so many years ago, but when Eastern Airlines just all of a sudden went bankrupt and all their employees were just let go one afternoon. I mean, it was like everybody. And a lot of people interviewed with us. We, at that time, that was a long time ago, we were inviting people to come in and meet with us through the newspaper. And I'll never forget how I would sit with people in interview and they were so angry. But I realized they weren't angry because my product or my business, even though it came across that way sometimes, they were angry because of their situation. So you're going to come across people who, or have all the emotions, the whole range of emotions that are going to be, it's going to be hard for them to see anything right now. So I think just being really a strong emotional support for people as well, helping to identify, because we can all identify with how each other feel, and then letting them know that if this fits, you're going to be there to help them, and that we do have that infrastructure in place to do that. But it's also going to be the courage to talk to people about it, because there's that feeling that sometimes that you don't want to impose, or sometimes it's going to look like you're trying to just sell them something for your own gain. You got to move away from that and realize that it is a gift. I say it, and Lauren said it on our last call, forever in my life I will be grateful that Jeff Roberti didn't take the day off the day he found me, because my life would have been totally different. And I don't think it would have been in the most positive fashion if we look at what the comparison could have been. And today there's a security that I would certainly not have had. When Katrina came through and took the house in New Orleans, it didn't take my livelihood. It didn't take, it was just a structure. So, it's, and the other thing is, our world will change. It is changing now forever. And I don't think anybody is going to ever be in a situation where they're not looking at their health in a whole different way, and where they're not looking at, having some sort of backup, expanding that way in which they earn money. So anyway, let's have questions if we want to have questions, or talk about it together, because it's new territory for all of us.
Let's talk about it together, because, yeah, go ahead.
Lauren, this is Manon, and Cheryl, thank you. You just touched upon something that was really key for me, because I really, I don't want people to feel like I'm selling them something, because I know people are desperate, and I don't, it's like really wanting to offer the gift. And what you just said was so key, and I want to say thank you for that. But can you just hone in on that a little bit more, when you said somebody got angry at you, but you just realized that they were just angry at themselves, at what was going on?
They were angry at their situation. I mean, I can remember in those days, we interviewed men more frequently than we did women, because men were, we're talking 25 years ago with Eastern Airlines, but I can think of instances like this along the way. Just, we see as a nation, a large percentage of our population is in this situation. But, I remember when IBM closed its doors and things of that nature. So, to have even a man sitting across the table from you, just furious, that I would offer something so frivolous as, this, that he would have to lower himself to think about, marketing, when he was a vice president for IBM. And what I realized was his anger was so well founded in what he was dealing with in his life, because it changed so quickly. And so if we cannot take it personally and just, acknowledge people's feelings in regard to, this, if you see that people are angry, if they feel too overwhelmed, to say that, I can certainly understand that. And I don't know if this is for you or not. It may not be. It has proved to be a great avenue for a lot of people. And you might, when you've heard Lauren say this a long time, let's just investigate it, and either you can give it a good yes or a good no. And if you're not ready to investigate it now, it's okay. I'll be here next week. I'll be here. And I've said this to people my whole career. This may not be for you right now. You may wake up one day and it is, and I'm going to be here. I was here yesterday. I was here 20 years ago. I was here 30 years ago, and I'm going to be here tomorrow. And we're going to be doing what we do. And we're the best in the world at teaching what we do. We have an infrastructure in place. And if you want to be part of our community on a part-time basis, and you're going to, and that was something that I learned to say to people too, like the men who were you know, just had worked their whole career to grow up in IBM, or was a pilot for Eastern Airlines. And I learned to say, you know, this may be something that just holds you over till you find that place that's going to be perfect for you. Or this may be something that can be that plan B when you find, because you're going to find what's going to fit you. You're too skilled, you're too talented, you have so much to offer. You're going to find what fits you. This might just be to hold you over, and it's going to be great for your health, and it's going to help other people. And a lot of the professions that are really out there right now with nothing to do, if you think about it, it's any profession that was a hands-on profession. You know, if it was massage therapy, or, you know, physical therapy, if it was, you know, hairdresser, if it was anybody that was touching someone else. So those usually are caring professions to begin with. You know, teachers, hairstylists, chiropractors, physical therapists, massage therapists, they're all caring, helping professions. So to say, you know, you're already skilled in what we do, because what we do is care about other people, and you're the best. You obviously, you know, you had a wonderful practice. That will come back. You will wind up back in your practice, because I truly believe everybody will go back to their lives. But in the interim, that skill you have, that love you have for helping other people, could serve you very well here in the interim. Would that make sense? Does that feel good?
Yeah. And then there's me,
Okay, so
the hammer right for a second. I think that, you know, we always talk about that people wake up, and I think people are kind of awake. They're still kind of asleep. They don't believe, you know, they're
right.
in kind of this whole, this is
It's
just
very surreal.
yeah, this is just a bad dream. It's not going to last. It's going to, you know, for a couple, okay, maybe we'll be in, you know, lockdown for a couple weeks. Now we know that it's going to be till the end of April, right? Pretty much we know this agreement is probably going to be later than that for most of us. It is, here's the truth. It's real, you know, and I think we all need to just decide here is what we have. What are we going to do with it? You know? And I think that this is the part where this is a great time for reinvention of your habits, reinvention of, you know, why you're really doing what you do. You know, when I teach Life Mastery, when I taught the program, there was a really great way that we would frame it. And I mean this with the utmost love and respect, but I want you to really, really go deep and think about this. The first thing is that you got to get over it. Whatever has happened in the past is the past, right? Whatever, if you weren't successful in something before, you know, you've learned from it, right? Cheryl, you always say what you've learned from your experience with other things, but that's the past. Whatever, you know, you were doing and your conversations you were having that weren't working, you know, that's the past. You have to decide now what this really means to you. There are literally people dying every day right now because of this coronavirus. There are literally people dying because their immune system isn't strong. There are people right now considering, you know, like who are freaked out. And, you know, I mean, you could really, it was kind of like here in Vegas. I remember I was told that they didn't want to release the number of suicides that happened, because if they released the number of suicides that were happening, it would freak people out so much that people wouldn't know what to do. There are people right now that are home with their children that don't know what to do with their children, because they've always had somebody take care of their children. Now they have to participate. There are people that don't know how to cook. There are people, you know, that are trying to learn how to cook now. There are people that don't get along with their spouse that are trying to get along. We are the solution. So whatever, because, you know, there's the Wayne Dyer quote, which people are looking for a reason to be offended. We need to be bigger than that. We need to come at it as like how much we love and care about them. And if not, use that third party approach, like what I did for so long. You know, I don't know, but if you happen to know somebody who really is looking, who's hungry, who really wants to make it, would you please send them my way? I'm glued to my chair. I'm doing calls all day long. I'll help whoever wants to be helped. And the second is that, you know, is really what we want to do is really to coach. You know, you got to be willing to be coachable. right? You got to be willing to coach, and you got to willing to be coachable. And that's why, you know, Cheryl's like the best coach out there. I've never like met a better
I'm,
coach.
I'm pretty admiring of Lauren and a lot of people I've learned from too.
If you stay stuck to the story of why you can't or why it doesn't work, you're just going to find it when times are good. If you're going to, you know, you got to be, it's all of us a chance for reevaluation for ourselves. You know what I mean? What do we like that we're doing? What are the things that we're doing that are great in the way that we present our business and the way that we share this and how we try. And then the other is that you got to participate in your own rescue. What does that really mean? That means we got to like look at like, what is my self-belief? What is my vision for this mission? You know, the world, not just your local community needs you now, the world needs us now. The world, right? And there's, hopefully there will never be another time like this, you know, that this will be this way, but there's also this opportunity for us to make a huge impact on the world. And so, and maybe that's not your goal. Maybe your goal isn't to make a huge impact on the world. If maybe it's just to be at home and, you know, make sure that your family's okay and you can do all those things, and that's okay too. But for those people, and maybe I'm just being a little too daring here, but I just got to go for it. You know, for those people that really do want to just say, freaking all in. I got 30 days. I am 30 days all in. You know, like I remember it was the Monday night call. I'm on, Cheryl, for the next 30 years. I'm on the call. And I told everybody in my family I'm on the call. Z is very clear. Asher is very clear. I'm on a mission for this, not with it. We're quarantined. I'm on the freaking phone. I'm on Zoom calls. I was doing Zooms. I'm doing, you know, I'm doing three-way calls. I can't go anywhere. I can't fly anywhere. I can't do any of those things. Canceled weddings, canceled this, canceled all of those things. So what you're gonna have, we all have the same 24 hours a day. It's, you've got to really, really look at what's the vision for you, and what are you willing to do that? You know, how are you going to reach people in other countries? How are you going to reach out? What are you going to do? I'm kind of the steamroller. Cheryl's so much more elegant. I'm more the grit. She's more the grace. So, but we are here on these calls and with you because we, you know, I think there's this part where like, what is it? Tell us what it is so that we can serve you, but we'll help, you build your business, right? And those are those things. And the way that we make money and the way that we do this is we put on customers and put on distributors. We can't, people are going to judge you anyway. They will, they've already got it. So if they know you're a good person, they know that your heart is good, then that's good. But you know, that's really about why you starting strong in your day, in your presence, and who you are and how you show up and what you believe about what you're here to serve and do. So, and when you know that, you never need to worry about whether or not people sell. I have people begging me to ask them for the money. They're like, when are you going to ask me for the money? Because they know that I'm there to serve them, right? Does that make sense to all of you? I hope that this is making sense to you. I'll send it back.
Maybe we go for questions. Well, anybody, what can we talk about with you that you?
Anybody who wants to talk?
Don't yell at us all at the same time. Okay, just wondering who wants to start a discussion on how can we help?
Cheryl, I'd like to ask a question of you and Lauren or anyone else on the line. Not to beat a dead horse, but back again, a neighbor of mine that my daughter and I have been helping, the wife, the mother, is in the healthcare industry, and she's working, but the father's in IT, and he just came out when I was leaving today, and he said he's lost his job. And so knowing that, hearing you talk about in the interim, because I know he's very successful, I just get a little bit fearful of stepping on his pride in that regard. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I feel like I should just put it out there and let him decide for himself.
Right, definitely so. But, you know, I think I would start with, you know, I know how skilled you are and how, you know, do whatever you, I mean, if you look at him, let me ask you this, Lori, If you look at him, how do you see him? You just told me he was very successful. How do you see him?
So I see him as a provider and as a person that's very positive, because in the same breath that he told me he was losing his job, he said there is an opportunity in that. And I don't know if that was just because his third grade son was right there and excited that he wasn't going to be on his computer all the time and he was going to have time with him. But I guess to answer your question, how I see him is how I see my husband, because I don't know him that well, but I do know his ethnicity. And I just feel like he's a very strong person because he's successful in his business. He works out. He's a family man and very health conscious.
Would it be uncomfortable for you to say, you know, what I see in you is, you know, you're a strong provider. You're very good at what you do. You're a wonderful father. Does this scare you that you now find yourself in this position so suddenly and so quickly? I mean, okay. I would really, because we all, you know, look for the feelings that people can identify with, that you can identify with them. And then say, I have no idea if, you know, what we do would interest you at all. But I do know that people that are, you know, and try to use some comparison that, you know, that people that are like you, that have really successful lives, have also been successful at this. And you may want to investigate it with us just for something in the interim that could make a difference for not only yourself, but others. And it may not fit at all, you know, but if it does, there may be some relief in it. So see if you can get first, what is the true feeling that he has? Because for men, this is anybody who's a sole provider, or even if we look at the father figure, so to speak, that is the provider, this is a huge blow. It's a huge blow. So to really acknowledge him for what you see in him as a human being and what he does bring to his family and the world, and then ask him, you know, are you scared? You know, and then offer it, and you offer it out of, you know, really just kindness for him to investigate. Not that you know, and I think it's important for people to realize too that, and there, you don't have to say this in so many words, but if this helps them, great. If not, your business is going to go on too. You know, it's going to continue as well. You know, you don't have to say those words, but you know, but that it's not the end of the world if they don't become a distributor for you, you know, or a team member, but it's there. You know, so, you know, reaching out to someone, because we all have those, you know, fears. I mean, you know, we woke up in a world one day that we didn't know, and we happen to be fortunate that we're in position to be able to create income because we can do it from technology and reach out to one another, and we already had it in place. See, that's the other thing that's so powerful, is we're already in place with an infrastructure, and that's huge, you know.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Hopefully, let me know how it goes. Okay.
Very helpful. Yes.
Anybody else? And it's great to see you again, Lori.
Thanks. Likewise.
Anybody else?
I think it's just speaking from the heart. You know what I mean? I think it's, you can't be afraid to have the conversation. It's like talking about how grateful you are. I'm grit. But I mean, when I have conversations, I'm always from the heart, but it's like, I think you got to get over yourself, guys, is what I would say, you know, with regards to it, and just really listen and think, what does that person really need? You know, what do they believe about you? It goes back to Ben Wick. What do they believe? You know, how they evaluate, what do they need? Do they need to know that this company is solid, that the company's going to be around, the insurance? I'll tell you the insurance one. So, you know, what is the, you know, what are their wound? What's their pain? We know their pain right now. It's all it is ask. We always say that questions are the answer. You know, if you just get in there and ask people and just say, look, I want to be here for you. I'm here for you. what do you need? What can I do to
And people, you know, I hear this so often in our business. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And so this is really the time where you have to find out what that person's feeling before they can hear anything from you.
You're right.
I love that.
Go back, like you said, Mo, go back. And the reason, what if, like we really go, that what if video, go back and watch it. Like what if, you know, we didn't call these people, whose lives are going to be different? What if Jeff had given up on a bad day? What if Jeff didn't stay persistent with me? What, you know, like none of us, our lives would be different. What if people didn't have the courage? Go back and think of your own story, you know, and know that the reason why, I mean, none of you would be here if you felt that you were sold. The reason that you're on this call today is someone really cared about you, right? Lori, Danielle, you've been friends since you were little girls, you know, Suzanne, you know, everybody, you know, all of you that were here on this call are here because someone cared about you. Is that true? Or, I mean, you're here because someone cared. And I think that that's what we need to, like, we need to get out of our own way, because our fears could be what's stopping somebody else's destiny, truly, you know? And I think we forget that sometimes, that, you know, that our fears are the things that get in a way so many times. Cheryl?
Yep.
Questions, you guys? Anybody else? We'll take another just 2 minutes. Someone respect everybody's time. But the goal, and Dee, I'd love for us to be able to do some of those things. Unfortunately, with the home office, because the home office is so big, we don't have a little bit of as much leverage as they do over in Australia with incentives. And I've offered incentives before. Cheryl's offered incentives before. Like I said, I'll be willing to do something at the end of the week. But, you know, I mean, just the fact that we have you know, the company's now giving so many bonuses. I mean, I'm fine to incentivize people, but once again, it's everybody's, but you should want to build it. Everybody should want to build their business. I'll be glad to do some kind of incentives at the end of the week for those people that turn in their numbers, you know, because you can't measure what you don't monitor. So yes, Austin, Mexico is still a go. So, and we've been putting in there when those calls are taking place about Mexico, but what's beautiful is you get to design this the way that you want. You know, you get to design it, right, Cheryl?
Right. Yeah, we do, and that's the blessing. The other thing I meant to mention, Lauren, and I don't know if anybody's noticed it yet. Our the product that, you know, has kind of had a soft launch, and then they, you know, they were going to put it out again, and it was called Lift or Uplift. That product now has purchase volume credit to it, and sales coordinators and above can purchase it. So just to let you know that if you like that one, you might want to try it if you haven't, if you're a sales coordinator or above, because it's kind of a really healthy just energy drink. And so
sparkling water.
and they had first come out just for the leadership to purchase it at full price, but they didn't have a PVC or a value on it for the distributor. As of today, it's paid on just like any other product. So if it's something that you want to try, or you you know, you liked and you tried it before, it is available right now.
Can I ask a question about that?
Mm-hmm.
So does that mean that the company decided we're definitely going for it and we'll keep it? I know they were not sure for a while. So does that mean it's a go?
Right now, it's a go for as long as we have it. And there's, you know, they have stock in Europe as well as here. And then eventually it will be a go. But right now it has purchase volume credit on it, which means you get, you know, your return in your position. So I don't know about, you know, once it runs out of this stock, how fast it'll come back. But there's been such a demand for it that it looks like it'll be something that eventually will carry on, you know. So anyway, it's a good thing.
If every Friday. If you guys, I submitted I put a form and it's under forms. So if you guys want to just, really put those numbers, and so we'll do a drawing every week for something.
Can I leave you all with a little inspiring story that happened today? Very short.
Yes, please. We like inspiring.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, both of you, for the Grit and Grace training. I loved both sides of it. So I wanted to share my whole Juice Plus story started with Sarah, my eldest daughter, who is part of my why for even saying yes to this business and the products. And we haven't, so since March 16th, we haven't been out to do any grocery shopping until today. And so Sarah has been organizing a list. She's been meal planning. She's been cooking. She's our chef. And she was the one that wanted to go out to the store today. So I give her my, credit and debit just in case they gave her a hard time with one or the other, because it wasn't me. So she goes to the store and she does her shopping. And she said she noticed that there was a woman in front of her that was in her, she said, she's like, they were older than Mimi and Papa, which are my parents. So she's like probably in their 80s or in her 80s. And she said she was fumbling with, she only had one flat of eggs and on the conveyor belt, and she was fumbling with her purse, but she had these huge, they look like big man's gloves on because she was trying to protect herself, I think. So she had these big man's gloves on, like almost like big thick winter type gloves, and she had this little purse and she was trying to dig for her wallet to get her money out. And Sarah meanwhile said, you know what, I've got your eggs, let me take care of it for you. And Sarah is very much wholehearted, but it's so interesting because she reached out to that lady and she said it just really quick, and the lady turns to her and was so flustered and then just starts crying. And she's like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. I just can't even, oh, this is so wonderful. And just kept going on and on. She goes, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's my pleasure to do that. So when she came home and told me that story, it literally just like, it was one kind of validation. It's like, you pay it forward. Everything that happens, everything that happened with her to be able to get her to the point where she's even, at the grocery store, doing shopping, doing everything she's doing physically, going for walks, doing yoga every day. It's such a blessing, and none of it would have happened unless, Lauren had the grit to talk to me. So that's the thing, is you just never know. It's another example of whatever we do, the end result is going to happen, whether they're going to say yes or they're going to say no. We just need to get out of our own way and put it out there, because the people
and that's a beautiful story. And the truth of the matter is, your story is not really about you. It's about who you're going to be able to help. It's for somebody else. And you need to give it away and give it away and give it away, okay? Because, again, it's that chain goes all the way down. If Jeff Roberti had not been committed to his own excellence and his own future, he would have not found me. If I had not needed this so much and just needed to learn it, we wouldn't have found any of us, okay? So it is a pay it forward, and your story belongs to the person you're telling it to.
Awesome. Well, thank you all. Yes, I asked Cheryl to do the pay plan on Thursday. She said she would.
I will. I'll do the pay plan on Thursday because, and then I was thinking I might ask you all, I'll get a little poll here. I do have someone too who does this crystal bowl meditation. And I was thinking about after that call to have her do it for anybody who wants to stay. And if you do Zoom and use your earbuds, the crystal vibration from the crystal bowls is very good for meditation. So, and you feel it. So is anybody interested in me doing that or like that? Okay. Well, we'll put that out because it's one of my favorite things. I came across that years ago. I was actually with Jeff in Florida, and I was amazed at how, it just relaxed you out and you felt really good. So I need as much of that. I'd want that girl on my phone every night if I could get her. So anyway, but great. And just proud of all of you. I mean, it's our time to it's a call to action for all of us. It's our time to show up. Okay.
Thank you, Cheryl, for being on the call.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thanks also for this weekend again.
It was a great weekend. Thanks to Lauren.
Awesome
And
week.
That's fantastic. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.